Hi, Katie. Okay. Ready? Go ahead and start feet pointed straight ahead. Take a moment to just check on where you are today. How's the weight between your feet? What do you notice? And I want you to just play with the position of your pelvis a little bit. So can you tip it forward? Can you tip it backward? And is there tightness in the front of any thigh? Is there, so this would be like the second layer of muscles. These are directional muscles. How can you go forward and backward? And do you have access to being able to tuck your tailbone down or put a little bit of an arch in your back? And how is that this morning as you do that? Is that tight? Does that trigger anything in your low back? Does that feel like it gets stuck? And then we'll just do a test that we use in the clinic a lot. Take your hands behind your head, pull your elbows back, and just notice what that does to the weight on your feet. So if you have global muscles in your body, like this body is like a muscle suit of one muscle separated into segments. If you take your hands up and put it behind your head and pull your elbows back, do you actually get rotation in the shoulder blades, thoracic extension in the upper back, and does it change what's happening all the way down to your feet? For some of us, that happens, and for some of us, maybe there's a chunk in your back where it gets stuck. So try it again. Feel your feet on the floor. You can close your eyes and just get a feeling of where the weight is, and then bring your hands up. Feel how that is just to rotate in the shoulder blades. Shoulder blade coming to the mid part right here, and then pull your elbows back. And just feel, is that the same between the right shoulder and the left? Can you take a deep breath? What do you notice about how that shifts the weight on your feet? Maybe you get heavier on one foot than the other. Just notice what's happening and release it down. Okay, now let's start with your elbow curls. Fold your fingers to your palms, bring your fingers to the palm, and then make sure your feet are pointed straight ahead, hip bone distance apart. Bring your elbows all the way together so they touch. Take a full deep breath. Feel your rib cage expand in a circular position all the way around, and then open the shoulders. And notice if that changes what's happening all the way down to the level of your feet. So we're in a closed kinetic chain exercise at your feet because your feet are on the floor, and we're asking your body to have a movement all the way up. And I want you to go slowly because the muscles that we're activating, the level of muscles respond at like a whisper level or a talking level, not so much a shouting level. And if we move too fast, then that third layer of muscles will be what moves you. But I want those smaller stabilizing muscles to be what is responding right now. Awesome. Okay, then let's find our traps. So we know that when the low back is doing too much motion because either the tightness in the hips or the tightness in the upper back are the culprit, we're going to work on that tightness a little bit. So go into your upper traps. Trapezius muscles have 3 innervations, these upper traps, and then you have the mid and lower trap. Those are muscles that bring your shoulder blades together and press your shoulder blades down. So find that layer of muscle, again, kind of talking level muscles. Slide them all the way up, come all the way down. Keep that little bit of squeeze between the shoulder blades and let the whole shoulder girdle lift as far as it'll go up and come all the way down. relax, and then another set. Squeeze them, slide them up, press them down.
Are we also trying to like pull our shoulder blades together?
Yeah, a little bit together, because that's what the traps do. They lift and they squeeze together and they help activate to hold the shoulder blade into that position. I want you to do the same thing. This time we're going to find the mid trap a little bit more. This time do the third set with your elbows bent and your hands super spread wide, so access the finger muscles, and then slide them up and push them down again. You may notice that the muscles underneath the shoulder blade feel different just being in that external rotation of the arm bone. Slide them up, press them down. And I can feel that trying to change the position all the way down to my leg. So notice for you, as we change this upper part of the body, where does it move? My hamstring is like, what are you doing right now? Awesome. And release. Okay, come down onto your back. We'll stay with opening the upper back a little bit here today. Feet on the floor and knees bent. Come into a reverse press. Elbows out on the floor. Squeeze your shoulder blades in toward your spine. Find those same muscles. Squeeze your shoulder blades kind of down and back. Go ahead and make a fist. Squeeze your hand as you do that. All the way into the forearm, into the elbow, then into the muscles behind the shoulder. Squeeze and release. I'm going to give you 1 minute of these. Just do as many as you can in that minute. Pinch them together, release. Squeeze, release. And if you have any kind of anterior or posterior tip in your pelvis, then the floor is just going to hold you stable while you find these muscles in and around your mid and upper back. Okay, interlace your fingers. Go after a pullover. Reach your arms over your head. As your arms go up over your head and the elbows stay straight, your shoulder blades have to tuck in toward your middle back. So if you have tightness between the right or left side of your rib cage, this tip of the shoulder blade is going to push into that mid and upper back a little bit as you reach all the way up, and then bring your arms back up. Take it all the way over. Let the shoulder blade do that rotation. If you have any pain in the shoulder, just go to a range that you have pain-free movement. So that may not be all the way up. I'd rather have you stay out of irritating the tissues so that they stay healthy than going into pain. And maybe as your body lets go, as the thoracic back opens, that will get easier in the shoulders. All right, let's use a little more abdominals. So bring your legs into a table position. And this time, bring your elbows down by your side. So we're going to break the elbow and the shoulder movement up, holding your legs in this position. Find that your body stays in neutral. So not quite flat in your low back. Even though the legs are up, it's not going to be very much space here. But I want your abdominals to work, and you could even think of finding some butt muscles, not so that it tucks your pelvis, but just so that you have activation all the way at the base of your pelvis. So think of your sit bones squeezing together just a little bit. Okay? Then take your arms up over your head. We'll just do this 10 times. Reach all the way up. Go ahead and let the shoulder girdle slide. So arms all the way up by your ears. Full slide of the shoulder, and then elbows come down, shoulders come down. Let it slide all the way up. Elbows come down, shoulders come down. Again. Notice if you have pressure on the sides of your pelvis at the same point in that sacroiliac junction, a place we'd like to keep pretty stable. Oh, couple more, I'm not sure where I'm at. I said 10, maybe that's 8. Okay, arms down by your side. Press your arms down into the floor so that you maintain upper back activation. So just hands down, palms up, pressing that down. And then I want you to kind of bicycle your legs. So take one out, your hip flexor is going to really activate. Your abdominals will turn on. Your transverse abdominis has to activate as your leg goes out. And then other side, bicycle it out. See if you can maintain that little glute activation all the way at the base of your pelvis as your leg extends. Enough abdominal support that your low back's not pulling way up off the floor as you do that. And then pull both legs in, releasing down. Left leg out on the floor, right leg coming in. Imagine you have a pen on the top of your knee. So we're in an open kinetic chain with the leg. We could make that move a little bit into the hip socket. I just want you to imagine that you're lubricating the hip socket by doing these little circles, asking the precise action of the hip joint to be made. So as you do that little rotation, everything else gets to be stable, and the hip joint itself just gets to have that movement. 10 circles, and then reverse it. Some core stability, some spinal stability, working on some of that hip flexibility. Good, now pull the ankle all the way across your body, letting the leg bone turn outward. Feel the muscles that pull that leg out and around, and then bring the ankle back to neutral. Take the ankle wider than your body so the leg is going into internal rotation. Pull, pull, pull. Find those muscles that rotate the femur in, back to neutral, and out. Let's do 3 of these. Feel your shoulder blades on the floor. One more. Good, and then into a hip lift. Bringing the right leg up. Bringing your left leg up, right leg hooking over. And pull that knee in. Press your right knee away from you, working on opening that hip. Push and pull, 1 minute hold here. External femur rotation, neutral spinal alignment, bit of thoracic extension. Breathe. Feel what the diaphragm can do as it opens, and exhale. Big inhale. Fully open the space in the middle of your body. Exhale. Squeeze down. 10 more seconds here. Push and pull. And release. Right leg on the floor, left leg comes up. Hand on your knee. Everything's stable. The floor gets to hold you stable. Open up that hip, 10 circles. Asking that head of the femur to have a precise movement in the hip. Reverse. And then with that knee straight up toward the ceiling, pull the ankle in. Find the rotators of the pelvis or of the leg bone. So deep muscles in the butt. Pulling that leg around, deep 6, glutes, and then to neutral, and then ankle wide internal rotation. Those are glute medius and minimus and adductors. And out. And in. One more. And then bend that knee, hook the ankle over, hold it up there, hip lift, hold for 1 minute. Big full deep breaths. Letting that external femur rotation happen in the socket with a neutral spine, an open thoracic back, even shoulders, softness in your neck. Make sure there's some curve in your neck. Hold and breathe. Hopefully that hip flexor on the right side is starting to get fatigued. You feel it. As that happens, maybe the left hip opens more.
Why would that be?
Stability.
Mr. Right, Mr. Left open.
Because there's more stability happening on that side. So mostly if we're right-footed, the right foot stabilizes and the left, or excuse me, the left stabilizes, the right moves. But right now we're stabilizing in the right, so then the left can move. Go ahead and release that, and pelvic tilts. Rock backward, flatten your back to the floor, roll it up, put an arch in your back. See if those directional muscles again can work. So as you tip back, the abdominals, low abdominals, rectus abdominis, all of that works. Even down at the base of your pelvis, you can squeeze your butt muscles, let that all tip, and then open the pelvic floor, let it go wide, spread the sit bones apart, then let the arch come in. Longissimus, big muscle that goes through the whole back, then layered on top of that multifidus and also lumbar erectors. They're gonna to work to pull that direction. So go ahead and find all of those muscles, all 3 layers as you round and arch. Find segmental control in your body. Okay, onto your hands and knees. We'll go after some quadruped rocking today. So come to a neutral spine and then sit back as far as you can, maintaining the arch in your back, and feel right where maybe the top of the pelvis and the leg bones start to hit, right where the wink wants to happen or your tailbone wants to move down. Just feel how that pulls through the butt muscles, back muscles stay active, and then come back forward. Let's do 10 of those. Go slowly, let the leg bone rotate in the hip socket, let your glutes and deep 6 lengthen. So this would be your squat position. How far down into your squat can you get before the top of the pelvis and the thigh bones force the pelvis to start to tuck under? One more. And then back to hands and knees. Really work your hands. Make them strong and stable. And then do some head rotations here. So let your head just be in line with the rest of your spine. And begin to move chin around to the shoulder. Good. Anybody got some crackles in there? Mine sounds a little crispy at the moment. Then just take your ear towards your shoulder and lengthen one side. Take a deep breath. And neutral and other side. Just notice if you have sternocleidomastoid, the jaw muscle tension more on one side than the other, maybe that upper trap. You can feel some scalenes deep in your neck. First side again. And other side. Nice. And then just do head down and up. And just take it through a range of motion you feel is pain-free and comfortable. Tuck your chin, let your head go down. Let it slide. Bring your ears back over your shoulders and lengthen, coming up. Chin tuck, head down. And up. Okay, staying here on your hands and knees for one more move. Bring your right leg way out there and wide. We're gonna work a little bit of the leg bone connection into the pelvic floor area. So with your leg out there, I want you to do a couple pelvic tilts and just feel how does this side, so your adductor is lengthened, as you go into that tuck and into that arch, how does that work into that leg? And how much control do you have? And then come to neutral, bring the leg all the way around, sweep it around so that the knee tucks behind the other knee. And then widen it back out again. Let's do 10 of those. All the way out and around and this is in case you have to curtsy for the queen. You can get that leg around, your butt muscles are loose enough that they'll move all the way over there.
I think if the queen passes on, Charles finally gets to be a king.
I don't know. Is that gonna happen?
I don't know, sure did talk about it. He married a divorced woman.
Switch sides.
I'm negative on him.
And Charles, they just go right to the next generation.
Okay, leg out to the side. Feel that adductor. Does everybody feel that lengthen? Just to move the leg out like that? I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Then begin to move the pelvis pelvic floor, into your belly. Keeping the foot on the floor kind of closes that kinetic chain, so the movement access is happening just around the pelvis. Yeah, my adductors are definitely one of the tight muscles in my body. Feel how that is for you.
What if it's just on one side?
Yeah,
That's not good, huh?
yeah, way tighter on one side than the other. Common but not optimal. Good. Slide that leg around, tuck the knee behind the other knee, and then back out. 10 of those. To regular cats and dogs, so pelvis rolling over, thigh bones in this position. All the way up through your shoulder blades, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back, round, push your shoulder blades off your back so that they really get to slide wide, and that serratus anterior, the muscle on the side of your body, pulls the shoulder blade off your back. Into a sitting floor twist. I'm going to just talk about rotations for a minute, because one of the things I'm really learning about is that for some people, rotations are really healthy, reduce pain, take out rotation that might exist in your body. And for other people, some rotations, depending on if you have instability at the low back, the rotations can be destabilizing. So please pay attention in your own body. I do want you to use the twisters or rotators in your body. And if you're someone who feels like there's excess movement in the low back or the SI joint, then maybe don't go so far or skip this move, and don't do it as such a big rotation. It's also one of the places where advanced yoga practices I think can get into trouble. People want to really push into those rotations, and you end up lengthening the ligaments or over-rotating the lumbar segments in the spine and causing some instability in the facets. So cross the ankle over the knee and sit really tall, and then make the rotation happen at the rib cage level. Feel your low back just move slightly, so the lumbar spine rotates 3 to 4 degrees, that's it. And then the rest of the rotation happens from the rib cage above. And the shoulder blade can pull toward the spine to help that rotation happen. But feel the muscles of the trunk, your internal and external obliques, across your belly, be the twisters, and maybe some muscles deep in your low back can also help you rotate. But I don't want you to force this or push it. Breathe, take a big exhale, see if the exhale can allow you to find some more abdominal muscles, and let that move through that whole muscle suit that you're wearing, all the way up into your head and neck. And untwist, switch sides. Sit tall, with that arch in your back, feel both butt cheeks down on the ground, hand behind you, and then feel where that rotation can come from. And is it similar between the right and left side? Big inhale and exhale. Squeeze. Through the rib cage and the thoracic back up into the neck. Allowing the muscles to do that so that you're not pulling or forcing extra rotation where it doesn't actually want to do it with the muscles. And untwist. Excellent. Onto your back one more time. Okay, we're gonna walk from your feet up to your head for a moment. So up on your toes, back on your heels, 20 rocking chair. Feel the deep intrinsic foot muscles work. I want you to point your toes all the way. Feel the muscles across your toes activate up into the arch, holding that arch more stable so the alignment of the ankle into the tibia helps the alignment of the knee. If you're somebody that you know has an arch that's collapsing, this is something that you can reactivate those deep foot muscles. And then just feet down on the floor, just lift your toes and press your toes down 10 times. Lift, press. And just notice, do you have activation the same on both sides? Do you have things that want to help you do that? Awesome. Okay, now take that from the foot into the hips. The deepest muscles in the hips are your deep rotators. Go slowly, 20 active frogs, dropping that out. Feeling a little bit of that lumbopelvic rhythm. As your legs go out, it may increase the arch in your back. As it comes back in, you might come back to neutral. But feel the action of the rotation in the hip socket. And we want these, again, whisper muscles. Level of the whisper to have precise action in the hip socket. Okay, then movement into the hip flexors. So directional muscles of the legs, pulling the legs up. You can maintain that neutral place in your spine. Then take them both down, tap the floor, pull them right back up. 20 lifts. Let's add knee extension to this. So as you go up, then extend the knee, pull the feet down, all the way up, thighs tight, bring it down, release. Knee extension, hip flexion. Awesome. Now, the butt muscles lift as you go up. Let's do one leg at a time. Hold one leg up there, down and up. 15. All the way up. Feel the glute. Push the leg up high, down, lift. pinch. Find the directional muscles of this hip, glutes, stabilizing in the low back, some hamstring perhaps, but make the glute be the dominant thing you're paying attention to as you lift that leg up and down. And then both at the same time, 10 more lifts. All the way up, feel the glutes activate. Come on down. Lift and lower. Okay, now into the belly. Let's go arms down by your sides, legs out, lift up, hold, and then just see if you could do a few rocks. And then release completely. Do it again. So make that shape kind of like a banana. Pull it up there, chin gently tucked, hold, and rock. And release. Roll to your belly. Place your elbows on the ground, right underneath your shoulders. Relax your shoulders down away from your ears and pull your forearms apart. So you're in some lumbar extension, some thoracic extension. We're in directional muscles of the spine now. Some opening in the front of the hip. So notice if you have tightness or tension in the front of your hips that needs to be worked on. Shoulder blades go down. This is where I said also where the shoulder blade pushes into the rib cage. So let the rib cage open. Shoulder blades move down your back, forearms pull wide. Just hold. Big deep breaths. Allow space to be created. And release. Press up onto your hands and knees. This time, elbows on the ground. We're going to do that same forearms apart. So really take your forearms to the outer edges of your mat. Let's go into the golfer's grip. So fingers, same as elbow curls, fingers pulled in, and then move your hips back. Keep trying to pull the forearms apart. And just notice how that is under or around the shoulder blade. Hips pull back, forearms pull apart, and breathe. Gently asking for precise action in the shoulder, just like we asked for it in the hip. You could even bring your hands together and pull them back out again to ask for that new rotation in the shoulder, and then pull back one more time. Find muscles around and under the shoulder blade, the rotator cuff. Big deep breaths, one more time into your rib cage. Awesome. And then come all the way up. Left leg forward into a kneeling groin stretch. Split hip position. Open it up. Let's add the middle back to this to let our hips open more. So interlace your fingers, pull your hands apart so that you are activating the muscles in and around the shoulder blades and underneath the shoulders, and see if that allows for tension in the thoracic back and more hip flexor opening. When we pull tension into one part of that muscle suit, how does that affect another part? Switch. Switch your hands. Pull your arms apart. Open up the hip. All the way up to standing. And then check your pelvic tilt again. Whoop. Do you have better access to being able to tuck under or move into extension? How is that? How does the pelvis roll over the top of the leg bones? Go ahead and find a spot at the wall. So for many of us, the tightness that exists is in the quads or the hip flexors. So I want you to go to the wall and take your feet maybe 6 inches from the wall. And I want you to go ahead and take a flat back position. So tuck your tailbone down. So a little bit of flexion. And if that hurts for any reason, then come back to neutral. But if it feels okay, open up that space by going into flat back, and then I want you to walk your feet a little bit closer and see if you can lengthen what's tight and stabilize where you may have moved more quickly. Then go a little bit closer. Can you keep almost a flat back and feel length or stretch there? And how about, can you take your arms up over your head? Anywhere is fine, out here, wherever it feels okay to you. All the way up, letting the shoulder blade rotate, push into the upper rib cage, taking it back, add your breath. And release. Now come to neutral in your back. So, neutral pelvis. And then into the shoulders, interlace your fingers, take your hands, flip them over, take them all the way up again. Let your arms go up by your ears, full stretch. Then let the shoulder blade sink down, push into that rib cage area. Good. If your front ribs just popped way forward or your low back just arched a lot, then pull it out of it a little bit. Shoulders away, upper traps not so active right now. Hold it there. See if you can relax your belly and hold your pelvis in the same position. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Find your adductors. Are both sides active and working? Press your feet apart. Find your outer hip muscles. Can you find those? Do that one more time. Hug your feet towards each other. Find your adductors. Press your feet apart. Find your outer hip. See if that's the same on both sides of your pelvis. And release your arms. Good. Stand on just in space somewhere and check your alignment, check your balance. How does that feel now? Maybe different than it did at the beginning. A little different? Okay, find your spot for your meditation. Sitting down, lying down, you choose. take a moment to just come into your body. Be mindful of where you are right now. Notice wherever your body is touching the floor and just feel what exists right here in this moment. And then begin to drop back from the awareness of your physical body into what are you feeling? What's your emotional body like right now, today? How can you show up for whatever exists right here? If there's some anxiety, can you add the breath? If you notice a fear that's arising, can you watch it or observe it? And see how you could shift that to a more compassionate, more loving space. Is it true? Is it real? Then drop back one more time into more open space. Still experience the breath. Notice what's arising in the moment, but bring your attention to the open space that exists. Aspect of your being that is calm and joyful and steady and loving. For the next 2 minutes, stay here. Continue to notice breath. From this space, let's just feed your different aspects of yourself with some positive affirmations. So every day in every way, I get better and better. Every day in every way, what I do helps my body, my family, my community. The work that I do on my body supports optimal alignment and health in the system. Showing up to support this community to continue to do alignment work together helps us all stay healthier. My cells are recharged and vibrant. My muscles and bones and structure are maintaining their strength and vitality. And all of this lets me live in a more joyful way in the world. Take one deep breath and just bring that into your system. Take one more breath and let that great feeling be sent back out. Go ahead and open your eyes. Come around if you'd like to check in. You may unmute yourself or say hello.